Wowzers.
Wow, man.
Whoa, man.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yes. We are back at it.
Coming from live from Maine.
Yeah. Yeah, we're up in Maine.
Yep.
We're chilling. Might have gone a little too high to do this.
I know.
We'll see how it goes.
I know. We are.
If you're hearing this, we made it.
We made.
If you're hearing this, we did it. We did figure out how to get it together. But right now, at this stage,
It feels like it's going to be like the third time we restart the podcast.
at this juncture right now, it is feeling like, what is it we do again?
I was like, I don't even have a thought in my head, but we
I
get
think that's
on
good,
here.
though.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Like
I'm
we were
trying to
just
embrace it.
we were just about to start, and you're like, I don't have a thought in my head, and I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? A bunch of things swirling around that you want to try to say or try to get to? It doesn't work.
Sometimes it works.
If people wanted that from us, they would have left us a long time ago. I think.
Totally. Yep.
I don't know what they want from us, but we'll try to deliver. I try to wake up and get down with a little TNA to get us fired up to do this. A little black tea and acid. That's our TNA. And sometimes we really thread the needle. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Today's one of those days.
Yes.
Today
yeah.
is
If you're
one-
hearing this, this is one of those days where we really perfectly thread the needle. It's a wild combination because, like every time, this happens every time. We're like, okay, we'll do a podcast tomorrow, which means I'm going to get up, I'm going to take a couple microdoses. By the time I'm feeling, when I say microdoses for us, it's probably like 30 to 50 micrograms.
I think it's like 20 to 25.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you clarified. Neither one of us know.
I have no idea.
I just go by how it makes me feel compared to how like one tab makes me feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I usually on day of a podcast I get up, do a couple microdoses, and then it's like connect with my girl, have breakfast, exercise a little bit. Take a shower, set up the podcast, all this stuff. And the first time I like settle down for the day is when we like sit down to do this. And that's when I realize how high I am for the first time. And I'm like, the hell was I thinking? Like I'm on a legitimate psychedelic come up right now.
I think the thing with it is when we get out of the habit of doing it every day, it hits us harder on the days that
Totally.
Because when we were on the road, we were doing it every day, and it was great. And we're just like boom, boom, boom.
We were taking acid every day, man.
We were.
we were. We were, and you kind of get used to just kind of scoping those lobes. And
You also have there's a tolerance that builds or something.
Yeah.
It still affects you positively and gives you that nice burst of energy and brightness.
Yeah. When you haven't done it in a minute and you pop 2 of those things and a black tea.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's good to have routines.
It's good to have routines. It is. It is.
We hold on tight to those routines.
There are rituals.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. They define our way of life in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
The little things we do before the big things we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because how you do the little things is how you're going to do the big things, right?
How you do anything is how you do everything. We could just do a whole show of platitudes if you just want to go back and forth. But it is true.
It is true.
How you do anything is how you do everything. So, you're like, you were saying, you were like, I love discipline, you lack discipline.
I literally yesterday came into you and I was like, here's my cell phone. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been too long before I've done anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think that I'm ADD, but I think we can all get into ADD tendencies. And I'm like, oh, I just pulled one sheet up on my bed. Well, let me check my phone again.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I just,
Yeah.
And then you get sucked in and you're like, what the hell?
It's kind of like how you can drink yourself into alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
You can scroll your way into ADD, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure, for sure.
For sure.
I think everyone is in the midst of doing it. We have been for 10 plus years.
It took me like a good 30 minutes after I gave you my phone to even get my shit together.
Well, then what'd you do? Move over to the computer and start doing it? You can tell me the truth.
I did a lot of things.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
But
You're going to get your dopamine one way or another.
I am. I'm chasing it down like a dragon. I need these hits.
Yeah. Yeah. You do need little hits of dopamine. We all do. I mean, what else are we doing here? We want to experience a little bit of joy.
I try to send my mom these little things about how grounding and walking in the dirt is like good for you and all this stuff, and she's like, yeah, but you can't believe these scientists. Who's this guy? Clairvoyant? Okay, whatever, Cass. And then she comes to me and she's like, so a lot of scientists don't want to talk about, but ice cream makes you happier.
Ice cream is good for you.
Ice cream is good for you.
She's like, the leading scientists won't go on record saying this, but I'm going to tip you guys off. There are studies, they exist, that ice cream is good for you.
And I get it. Because it does. There's a. I'm sure. I can't even think of exactly what it is, but whether it's the dopamine, her big theory is that it has to do with how all these like major events in your life or positive memories, a lot of times ice cream was present, so you're like flooding yourself with like these patterns of bringing forth the good memories.
Damn.
It's not a bad theory.
Yeah. Well, it also sounds like she's more of a hippie than us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. She'll get on our case and then she'll drop something like that. The body keeps the score, Cass. And when the body was keeping the score, when you were 5 years old, you had an ice cream cake. You had Fudgy the Whale.
Well, we all just look for whatever's going to justify what we want to do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And not only that, there has been a study commissioned by predatory industries to make you feel better about whatever weird habit they got you hooked on.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm like, that was the ice cream lobby, Mom.
Yeah, that was big ice cream.
You
don't understand. Breyers and Haagen-Dazs got together and they made up a fake committee of scientists, and they commissioned these studies that get people to keep doing it. I don't even think most people are questioning their ice cream intake. I guess your mom is. She's at that stage of her life, though.
We got all sorts of things. I don't even know what's good for you. There's this like chickpea pasta I liked.
I know.
And then it's like, in order to get chickpeas to dehydrate, they spray it with glyphosate or something, which is some chemical that's really bad for you. And I'm like, look, you try to do the right thing, because it's
a lot of protein.
It's a lot of protein, and you're like, let me double hit it. If I'm going to eat pasta, let me have high protein pasta. Wheat pasta doesn't sit well with me. Like, let me just be good. And then you do the thing that you think is the good thing, and it's like, you are poisoning yourself more than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
And you just got to throw your hands up and be like, I'd do it. Just try your best. Just try your best.
You just got to do your best.
Well, what is it? What do you just, I think it's just Whole Foods. Everything just keeps telling me, oh, you think you can do this processed alternative? No, back to the Whole Foods. Oh, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like across the board.
And then you have to grow your own food because you know what it's been treated with.
Yeah. I think across the board, whether you're talking about food, health, education, shelter, community, all these things, getting back to connected ways of doing those things is always going to be the most healthy way. Because I think that's what our technological advances have, that's been, the thorn in the rose, is that, the technological advances that have taken us away from feeling or being more connected to the process of getting the food. We, like you're saying, go stand out barefoot outside. You'll feel better. And now scientists are measuring this, and they're being like, oh yeah, your white blood cells just flow when you just go stand out in the ground, because we've become disconnected from that because of the technological advancement of Nikes or whatever. But just think about across the board, so when you're saying Whole Foods, what's that doing? That's getting you back to a more connected way of being.
Yeah, there's less levels of separation between you and what you're consuming.
There doesn't need to be any. If you're just eating Whole Foods, there really doesn't need to be any levels of disconnection between you and your food. And I think that's the way it used to be. And I think a lot of our mental health and, despair things have to do with disconnection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're stuck in a weird in-between time.
Well, I always, you feel how your food is prepared. If you prepare your food with anger or love or whatever, that makes a difference. So the way more you remove your food preparation, and there's so many little obstacles it's going through, just feels like
just collecting microplastics on its way to you.
Totally.
You know, that's the toll you pay. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking that a bunch the other day, how disconnected we've become from so many things, and even the ways that like we seek and gain pleasures. Yeah, and it's like when I say we're at a weird in between time, it's like the technological advancements are obviously pushing the human race into some new thing that we're probably not even going to be able to recognize like 500 or 1,000 years from now.
50.
Yeah, but right now we're kind of like on the in-between stage where it's like, hey, it would actually be a lot better for us to do things a little bit more of the old way, a little bit, a little bit more hard work connected to your education, your shelter, your food, all these things, your community, your sex. Like we've blown out our
receptors,
reward systems pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's birthing us into something new that I think is going to be really rad, but like we're just at this very strange in between point where it just feels very unhealthy.
And some of us are trying to hold on to the old way, and then some of us are...
some of us are like, what? Microplastics are in everything? How do I not get microplastics? And other people are like, I guess I'm a microplastic, man. That's fine. I don't care.
I swing back and forth.
Me too.
Between acceptance and like hypervigilance.
Yeah, the yin, the yang.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Protection.
Oh yeah. I mean, but like what are you gonna do? A lot of times the stuff that you have to do to protect yourself from these forces is a goddamn fool's errand, because it's like for a lot of it, it's not just like capitalist bullshit. It's like our evolution. Like we're evolving towards this. We want these things to be easier so we can focus on these things. We don't even know what they are yet.
Well, I don't know if it's like being a Taurus or something. Like I'm very materialistic in a lot of ways, and maybe not in the way you immediately assume, but I'm very much like in the material, and I have like a lot of things like, okay, well, I'll buy the most organic thing, or I'll buy this, or I'll buy that, and I'll fix my problems with buying something. I'm really, really trying just like not to buy stuff.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, okay, I have a cart full of stuff, and I'm like, forget that cart. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. Well, it's the American way.
It is the American way.
You can buy your way out of anything. You could buy your way into and out of anything if you have the means.
Yeah, exactly. And well, I don't even really have like the means to be shopping the way I like my little scared person wants to shop, of like, well, what if this happens? You need to be prepared for this, and like a lot of preparation, and like, well, we need an umbrella. I mean, that's like a basic.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
But it is kind of a perfect hypnosis that we're all under in this country, or maybe in the whole world, but I can only speak for here, is like that your happiness and well-being is just one consumer decision away. Mm-hmm. Like.
Well, it's so much more satisfying when you revamp something, or you go in your mom's closet and you're like, oh my god, look at this hat that my dad used to wear in the 80s. This is awesome. I'm gonna break this out. And then because it has all this energy, there's a lot more energy to things and fixing things, and this, you have to figure things. If you say I'm not gonna buy it, you have to figure it out, and then it like kind of seduces the creative mind out of you. Okay, like how am I gonna, I want more color in my life. I'm not gonna just buy a colorful sweater, even if I will, but like, I'm gonna go find flowers. And then I find myself just, maybe it's the time of year, but just going out and appreciating. I'm just like awestruck by everybody's yard.
I know.
And then being like, oh my god, look at those lilies, they're just growing rogue, and just the beautification of nature that is possible, and that we can just like spread it out even more. Yeah,
it's pretty rad. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I had a bunch of friends that were in their like mid 30s. And I feel like every conversation I ever overheard them having was about fucking perennials and landscaping and this and that. I'm like, is this what life is? Is this what you become? And now I'm like totally that type of person.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, how did you do this?
Mm-hmm.
This is awesome.
Yeah, man, you grow up, and then you just are like, can appreciate the simpler things.
You slow down. You realize how fast life goes, so you try to slow down and you try to appreciate things.
And the simpler things are actually the most complex. Like growing a flower from seed, it's like such a complicated but simple, natural process.
The other day I was, for years, how long have we been doing Church of Chill, the radio show?
Since like 2018.
2018. So it's been 6 years of doing this. The whole time that we've been doing this show, I'm like, oh, I wish I could like affect our voices or do like weird, just, I don't know, like weird like alien stuff. And like, I'm like, I just don't know how to do that. I'm going to have to find someone to do that. I'll hire someone to do it eventually. And then yesterday I was making an episode and I was like, let me try to fuck around a little bit. Let me see if I can figure out how to fuck around, even though I really don't have that many skills in Adobe Premiere. And I figured it out. And not only did I figure out how to do that, it's just like opened up a world of creativity for me. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. If I can make my voice sound like that, then I can maybe do this. I could add that to that. Oh, wait, that applies to this. And like crazy, just like opened up a whole new realm by just me being, after 6 years, being like, fuck it, let me just Google how to make your voice sound weird in post.
That sounds really cool. I was very impressed.
Yeah. And there's probably easier ways to do it, but like I was like, let's get down to it. The way that they used to have to do stuff, fuck, Jesus Christ, man. The kids these days have no idea. When you hear a fade out on a song from like the 70s or 80s, how there was like a lot of songs that were faded out. That was some motherfucker sitting there clipping a million little pieces of tape and turning the volume down, stitching them together and just slightly turning the volume down on each little piece of tape as it goes along. Like what it used to take, now that's just like literally an effect that takes half a second to apply.
It is crazy.
Yeah. But point being, when you're trying to like take a shortcut, maybe don't.
I think I've had a different version of that recently. Because for me, I'm always like, well, I'll make the art I want to make when I buy this art supplies. Like I have some big idea. I always have some big idea about what I want to do creatively. And sometimes I just have to be like, you can't buy anything. You have to make art with what you have. And then the things I make when I do something with like a little doodle or something with a pen and highlighter, I'm like, this is like a box I can expand with it. Absolutely.
That's why I think our new movie is going to be so cool, Wild Magic. Because like, I mean, how long could we just sit around being like, well, we can't make that movie because we don't have the money, because we need to hire this person to do that and hire that person to do that. And then when it just dawns on us, it's like, let's just go do that stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
Even if there's some growing pains, even if it's like a little crude at first, if we embrace that and wholeheartedly go towards it, then that's like an aesthetic choice we made.
Mm-hmm.
And how much better is this movie going to be because we spent 70 days out there shooting, as opposed to the other approach, 7 with a proper crew, which we can do and we have done. And we could probably pull off a great movie for that. But this one is just so much more imbued with not only like the souls and spirits of the people that appear on camera, but like us going through something to try to capture this and make it look and sound cool and elicit a reaction that makes people feel like they're in magic. Yeah, it's so much. I'm not saying every one of our productions needs to be like this, but I really appreciate what our approach and our saying, fuck it, no one's helping us, help ain't on the way, the cavalry ain't coming, let's do it ourselves. I appreciate what it's doing to the project.
Yeah, it's simultaneously less is more and more is more.
Yeah.
Because it's like more days is more, less barriers.
And look, there's benefits to both, Like Bruce Springsteen made fucking the album Nebraska, which just recorded it on a 4-track in his kitchen by himself. And they just put it out like that.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And his next album was Born in the USA.
Which was
huge.
I mean, the sound was huge.
The production is over the top, some would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really clean and it's really commercial, and there's just different different things are right to service. Like the approach that he had for those songs on Nebraska, he was recording them as demos.
Mm-hmm.
And his manager heard it and he said, I think these are actually the songs. And those recordings are what served those songs the best, you know?
Well, or he had a classic case of demoitis.
Well, that happens. But,
I always get it.
But at that stage in your career, you can do that because he's 10 years in at that point.
Yeah.
8 to 10 years in. So he's already done it's not like he has a history of like, he records a demo and he's like, that's fine. He doesn't have a history of that. He actually has a history of spending 3 years on one song before this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, Born to Run. The making of that album was excruciating.
Is that the one where he threw it into the water? Isn't there like what's the story of someone throwing a vinyl album into a pool? Was it a Tom Petty or something? Somebody they finished recording a record and
I think it might have been Tom Petty.
He's like, this is garbage.
And they had to stop him from doing it by giving him different masters that weren't. He was going to throw the masters off a bridge or something like that. And they gave him the wrong masters. Yeah. But just different approaches are right for different things. And if you understand that going in, I think you can kind of navigate that territory, even though it might have been a little scary for us to be handling equipment for the first time. I think there's a charm to it.
It's like you get putting your hands in the mud. I think that's what.
Yeah.
I think that's for what those of us who maybe want to fight where this world is going. Really, the only answer is to get your hand in the mud, and become more connected to all the process of the things that you consume.
Sometimes
so it's
time to put down the sword and pick up the plow.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Me neither. I think that was Marcus Aurelius.
I was like, that's really good.
You're like, damn.
It's like, damn, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because we're in such an exploitive system, and we're seeing in real time what exploitation is doing. It's starving our brothers and sisters. It's killing them. It's maiming them. It's destroying families and homes and communities and the earth, and it's not sustainable, obviously.
No.
So I don't know. And plus it's like and we're like at this point where we're all getting so sick that if we keep doing it this way, we're all just going to be like killed off anyway. Like if you don't treat yourself with hard work and sweat and getting your hands in the mud,
we're fucked. Yeah.
Like literally.
We're
it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Fucked beyond all record.
Fucked up beyond all recognition.
Do you know what's that from? Did that start somewhere? Fubar?
I don't know. What about snafu?
What is that?
Situation normal, all fucked up. I don't know. I think that they're weird, like military terms.
It does sound like one.
If we were saying this stuff around your grandfather, he'd probably be able to decode all this.
Let's reappropriate military culture.
What else can be done?
Yeah. Is there really a draft going on? Is that real? Did I see that? Is that happening?
No.
No, it's not real.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm a person that was like, people would be like, are they really about to do the Roe versus Wade thing? I'm like, no, stop. That's not going to happen. And then it does. And you're like, oh, what? So if there's a draft, I don't know about it. In a way, I think it's just like, it's having a draft as like a national policy is really super masks off moment that ends up awakening and enlivening our natural immune system. I think that part of the reason that you have no anti-war movement in this country, any kind of anti-war movement that has any kind of legs, is because we don't have a draft.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So the people that get sacrificed are people that our politicians have deemed worthy of sacrifice because they're lower class, because they couldn't afford college, because they couldn't buy their way out of it.
I think one of the biggest ways that the wool has been pulled over our eyes is this idea of like peaceful protesting is the only way to get things done, or like
Oh yeah.
working from the system. You have to change things from inside the system. It's like, no, things really have only changed because people have been so inconvenienced that it's cost them too much money, and
That's it.
it's all every decision's based on capital.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why, I mean, I don't know much about this movement, but if you look at the disability movement, people had to put their lives on the line in protests. And it wasn't like, oh, we're all just benevolently going to now make our venues handicap accessible and make offices handicap accessible. And people didn't want to spend the money to put elevators and ramps and whatever it is. And there was like a big movement of disruptive protest that leads to change. And then you're on the 4th floor of some place and you're like, there's a handicapped bathroom, and you're like, there was a fight that went into getting this. This isn't just like, oh, we love you people, you're such good people, we're gonna just make sure that you're taken care of. It's like exactly the opposite.
Same thing with the labor movement, the civil rights movement. It's like this wasn't peaceful. This wasn't something that was done at the ballot box. It's not even something that could be done at the ballot box. This is something that a lot of people had to fight for and lose their lives for. And talk about getting your hands dirty. Like you're trying to, anytime there's a social change within a country on that level, it's like moving a ship. Moving a ship even 1 degree takes a lot of effort. It takes time. So to move a ship that much, it's gonna take a lot of blood, sweat, tears, sacrifice, fuckery,
Yeah, sometimes I forget how much of a ship countries are.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, why can't we just lead the world in peace and prosperity and, just why can't it just like switch like that? It's like that would disrupt every policy, everyone's job, like that's based on the sword and exploitation and entitlement.
Yeah, totally. You have to consider those things, but yeah,
consider it in a way of like, okay, just you don't have to, it's not like, oh well, it's never going to change. It's like, no, we're always changing. It always is changing. Which direction do you want to be like pushing the steering wheel? We're just all like doing our little part to push the steering wheel in a direction.
Yeah. If you're not in the fight, rest assured you are in the fight. Yeah, you're just losing it.
Yeah.
You are in the fucking. We're always in a constant tug of war, and if you don't feel like you're pulling your weight, you're getting pulled. Trust me.
Yeah. Totally.
You are. And that ain't Marcus Aurelius. That's fucking your boy. Yeah. I don't know how we end up talking about this shit. It's so serious.
What else is there to talk about?
Well, you got to fight for your right to party, basically. That's what it comes down to. It might have seemed like a silly song when it came out. It might have seemed like a wild sentiment to be singing about. But it's true. It's really true. You got to fight for your right to party. Like, we all want to party. We all want, like, when we talk about our psychedelic socialist future, that's just like Burning Man breaking out all over the place, and it's all good, but you got to fight for your right to party.
And well, it's not really a party if there's someone in the corner crying.
Mm-hmm.
A party is like we're all happy and we're all coming together.
They're allowed to cry, but it shouldn't be because like they don't have an education or any money or any food or any shelter or clothes or opportunities. Like, they're allowed to cry. Like,
it's a hormone imbalance.
Yeah, maybe it's something. I don't know. Maybe someone hurt their feelings. Like, in the psychedelic socialist future, people do still get their feelings hurt.
They
for
still
sure.
cry.
They still cry. Yeah, maybe they even have more access to those emotions.
Yeah. No.
I don't think
like
as much stuff needs to be tamped down. So, like, I think that we've been boxed in as workers.
Mm-hmm.
We even call each other that, the working class. We're workers. And we've been boxed into that. But, like, what if you take that box away? Where it's like, we don't have to be workers.
What should we call ourselves?
I don't know. What do we become?
Lovers.
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 Yeah. Meat lovers.
Meat lovers.
I'll take the meat lovers. A large meat lovers. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, I'm too high for this shit.
We just want to push in the right direction, right? Just gotta push it in the right direction. Is there a right direction? Is there a is that even such a thing? I think I think there's such a thing.
Well, yeah, but it's balance.
Yeah. And what you think might be I thought eating this certain pasta was like the right direction.
Yeah.
But I was naive.
Yeah.
And didn't have all the facts.
Mm-hmm. I think the balance is not eating pasta.
I will subsist on carrots and cucumbers.
I mean, there's a lot of other stuff, but like, I don't know. Does pasta serve your body?
My body doesn't like pasta.
You know that.
Yeah, so it's easy, but it's so easy to make.
Yeah.
Every time I feel like you try to be healthy in one way, something else comes for you, and it's like, who cares?
That's the quote of the episode right there. That's great. Who fucking cares, man? You know, like, you try to be healthy, you try to make some adjustment, and then it's like, who fucking cares?
No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like...
I mean, it's true. It's true, because it's like, I don't know. I guess the balance for me is like, try to take life seriously, but don't take yourself seriously.
Mm-hmm. Well, you like discipline.
Yeah.
You like it.
Yeah.
And it allows you to have a good time. And I'm just always having a good time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes discipline comes in and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Let's get serious.
Yeah, it allows me to have a good time because I feel like I have my head screwed on. If
you got your rail tracks. You're like on the tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even commendable.
You're not too far from home.
It's barely worth mentioning. It's so not commendable to just listen to your body a little bit more and do right by it, and kind of serve your temple before you think you have any business doing anything else. You know, what kind of ideas could I have if I didn't serve my temple?
Well, it seems like our bodies have temper tantrums if we don't listen to them.
Yes.
If we don't take
Flare
care
ups.
of them. Flare-ups, yeah.
Yeah, whatever they are.
So you can ignore your body, but then it's going to come screaming at you. It's like you ignore your little child too long, and it's all of a sudden going to be really loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then what happens is, well, like I was thinking about this, is like, we're in such a society right now that we live in a society.
We live in a society.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
No, but like, I think because of the disconnection between us and so many of the things like we rely on to get by, and the disconnection between us and other people, and our food, and our education, our sleep, our dreams, like there's so many things.
Sex.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting slowly pulled out of alignment. Getting pulled out of alignment. And a lot of symptoms come along with that. And there's plenty of predatory industries that will come and try to help you with those symptoms. But what happens is you get pulled out of alignment, and then you start identifying with those symptoms or as that person. And it's like, yo, that ain't you. That's just because you just fucking grew up on Captain Crunch and you watch too much TV and you didn't learn to exercise, or you don't stay prayed up, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? You get pulled out of alignment and you start identifying with that person that's pulled out of alignment. And
yeah, you were talking about this the other day. You were like, I feel like I had been in the past pulled out of alignment, and you thought that's who you were.
Yes.
And then it took you a minute to realize, like, no, actually, that's not who I am.
Yeah. I think even us, like what we talked about on on the last episode about us having kids, I think the person who's like so staunchly like, no, that's not me, I'm never going to do that, turns out was a version of me that was like a little bit pulled out of alignment, and that's an ego flare up, So
a long one.
A long one based on a crazy ass first 26 years of my life, where I'm just like trying to reparent myself and like reclaim my childhood a little bit. And I was just like, yo, that's no one else's problem. That's not some poor soul's problem that I'm bringing down into, but just identifying like almost as like this broken person who couldn't be a parent, who couldn't be a good father, and just like kind of be, you know, like throw your hands up.
Well, and also you tell yourself the story over and over, like, well, I'm too selfish, and then you're like, that's so boring.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want it? Why
would I say that?
Yeah, why would I put that?
Why would I say that?
Spell on myself. It's a really ugly quality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that about you. I'm saying that about myself.
Anyone, anything, you know, like how upset a number of people on this trip that we were just on. We're filming people, and, you know, they're asking us about, well, how do you guys do this? How do you guys keep making these movies? Like someone we just shot with or whatever. And I'm like, oh, we go broke. That's why we're always broke. We'll always be broke because all of our money goes towards these movies. And they're like, stop saying you're broke. Like, they were very offended by it. I probably talked about this. But, like, I felt that, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, that is silly. That's me identifying with a version of me that is, like, in scarcity mode and has gotten so pulled out of alignment that I'm mystifying a life of being a broke artist. And it's like, no, it doesn't need to be like that. It doesn't need to be like that at all. And, in fact, we're not broke. In so many ways. So many ways. We might not have a lot of money right now. we're
money
really,
shmoney.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, you get pulled out of alignment, the symptoms come in, the symptoms transform you, and then you start thinking that's who I am. I'm depressed guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm anxious guy. I'm obese. I've always been obese. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, that ain't you. That ain't you. Start identifying with that version of you that you want to be, that you wish you were.
Oh, man. I wish you didn't even have to go see this movie with me, but I just saw it and I loved it. Katie and I went to see
Inside Out 2.
Thank you. Yeah.
Premiering June 14th, only in theaters.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Because you see this girl turn 13, I guess. She becomes a teenager, 14, becomes a teenager. Inside Out 1 was great, too. Her parents move or something, you know, it's all, and all these emotions come up, and she has these like predominant emotions that like take the wheel, and they like push buttons in her brain mainframe, and it's like she has sadness, anger, joy, sadness, anger, joy, and I'll think of the other ones, but a couple, like, just these basic emotions, and then when she turns 13, all these other emotions come up.
Oh, wow.
And she's got anxiety and embarrassment and boredom and envy. And, like, puberty comes and brings all these other emotions that are, like, pushing the wheel, and I just, like, reprocessed a lot of my childhood through it, you know.
Wow.
Because you reprocess, you're like, whoa, I did lose my joy because I was so scared and embarrassed and fearful and all anxious. And it's like, wow, they really just let all these emotions take the wheel. And
you thought that's who you were.
Mm-hmm.
You were the girl that didn't go to parties.
Yeah, because I was scared, and I was like, no one wants me at these parties. I'm too embarrassed. I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, I don't really care about what would I even care about? But I was like...
Well, that's your justification.
Well, when my friends would be like, let's go to this thing, I'd be like, I couldn't possibly.
Why?
Well, because you, like, are like, I'm not cool enough, or I'm too young, or I just, like, this moment of someone looking at you and thinking, why are you here, was enough to make me feel like... I couldn't possibly feel the weight of that embarrassment for 1 second. So I'm going to stay home where it's safe and I don't have to feel that feeling ever.
Wow.
Because no one's going to be like, why are you here? I'm in my house, okay? I'm in my freaking house. Leave me alone.
You're protected. That's sad to me, though. I mean, I did my own version of that.
Yeah, we all do our own version.
I didn't even know about the party, so... you know, you had it pretty good. They at least were trying to get you to go to the party and drag you there. I was like, what party is there? There's a party?
Well, so the bigger point of what I was trying to say is she kind of says to herself, she has this thing of all these emotions that have become her long-term memory and the identifiers of who she is. And one of the things is, I'm a good person. And then anxiety comes in and throws it into like long-term hidden zone, inaccessible, compartmentalized,
Yeah.
and then starts making decisions out of fear. They're not going to like me. No one likes me, and telling all these news stories. And then the truth is we become an amalgamation of like the good stories and the bad stories, and then it's all beautiful. It all helps us and whatever. But I think I'm excited for kids to have something so simple like Inside Me.
Inside Me? Inside Out?
Inside Out, yeah.
I don't think they could name a movie Inside Me. I don't know.
I guess it'd be weird. Well, that to look at yourself and not be like, oh, that is anger. I can see the little angry dude inside me, but he's not who I am. He's just like a facet of me.
Yeah. We've talked about that little guy, Gremlin mode.
Yeah.
That's a little gremlin.
He's really cute in this movie. He's like a little fireball.
Gremlins always start out cute, but feed them after midnight. Ooh, forget about it, baby. Wow, that's cool though. That there's a movie that kind of personifies some things that I think it might be really hard for people to wrap their heads around.
I think even adults need to see this movie.
Especially
adults.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, okay, that's what's going on.
Yeah. Well, because if you can watch this movie and sit there and be like, damn, I was kind of like that. I started making decisions out of fear. And you're reprocessing your childhood. You're kind of reprocessing your futurehood, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start to recognize those patterns that you didn't see before and what they were based on, like, you're going to, like, I think automatically almost make adjustments and updates as to not be like that. And you'll catch yourself.
Totally. And that's where, like, when anxiety came in and threw out the I'm a good person, she was like at this crossroads where she's like, am I going to make this decision that obviously wouldn't be aligned with me being a good person, or am I not going to care about it? And if you always try to align with being the good person, you'll make better decisions. Because that'll be who you are. You won't even have to think, like, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? Is this who I am? You're like, no, I'm a good person. What do good people do? Good people don't do this. Good people don't, whatever.
That's why religion's so powerful. It's just a guide for that. It's just some guideposts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's why people get out of control with it and get radicalized and everything. Because an outside force is telling you what it means to be a good person.
There's like a balance with Catholicism in particular, and and I'm curious to hear, given that you were raised Catholic, to hear your take on it, because there's part of me that's like, great, of course people should be forgiven for whatever, this processing, the confession, and then there's another part of me that's like, they just wanted to know your secrets and jerk off to them or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's also,
I agree. There's part of me that's like, well, of course people should feel guilty about fucking fucked up shit that they did.
I'm saying, like, of course people should be forgiven.
Yeah.
But it also becomes like, maybe you see it in these the mob movies where they go to confession. It's like, well, I killed my brother, blah blah blah. Yeah. It's like, okay, 10 Hail Marys or whatever. But it becomes the sort of thing of like, okay, well, I'll go to church and get forgiven for whatever the fuck I do this week, so let me not even think about it.
I like where you're going with that. I see you're questioning things on a really deep level.
Well, give me some answers.
Okay, so you're like, if we're offering forgiveness, people are going to take advantage.
How do you say, like, I am forgiven, but also to live your life in integrity? Because I just feel like in the cycle of Catholicism where it's like you go and you repent and you do Hail Marys or whatever, maybe it's just the punishment system wasn't direct enough. Maybe it wasn't like, oh, you lied to a friend, now you need to go help them move, or it's more like, okay, now you just take care of it on your own.
Well, it's tough. I think what becomes so corrupt and fucked up about the whole thing is that, like, to forgive is it's a godly quality. And we're saying, like, I think in the Catholic faith, you're saying, like, God forgives you, but you're relying on a middleman to kind of dole out the forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times these guys are like fucking backed up old pedophiles
Exactly.
who aren't dishing it out. They're not particularly kind people. So I think that there's generations that just suffered from the shit moods of the priest class, and they don't feel forgiven. And had they actually really felt God's forgiveness, maybe it would have changed the track of their life or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because for Catholicism, for being this, having this process built in of forgiveness and confession and stuff, it's crazy how much shame there is, inbuilt.
Well, how else would you get people in that confessional booth? They got to feel fucking bad about it. They got to feel bad about whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't feel bad about it, if you were offering yourself the forgiveness, you wouldn't need them.
So
the shame actually, first it's a chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Is it the shame or the forgiveness that they're really peddling?
How many times have you done confession, would you say?
In my life, 24.
And how does it make you feel generally?
You feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I got that off my chest, and now I have a way of processing it. And
yeah.
Well, one of our best presidents was a Catholic, so maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, and they thought that was going to be an issue. When JFK got elected, it was like very, very controversial thing that he was Catholic, because they thought he was going to be beholden to the Pope. But yeah, I mean, there's good things about Catholicism. There's good things about any religion. But
what religion? Going to sound racist. No, I'm not. I'm never going to ask it.
You can't say this is about to sound racist and then say I can't say this.
Well, because I don't know what the answer is. Whatever the answer is could be racist. The question's not racist. I was going to say, do you think there's a religion that breeds the best people? And I have an answer.
No.
Okay.
No.
I think it's the Sikhs because they feed people. I don't know the dark side of the Sikh culture, but if I were to say there's the best religion, I'd be like any religion that feeds people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And goes out and that's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they should all be doing it if they want to practice what they preach. But I think people are going to be people, and they need sometimes like some cultural guardrails to know how to behave, because it's like you were saying, it's like if you become steeped in religion, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to your questions are answered. You're
like, I'm a good person. I live by certain rules. I don't,
And the things that are kind of spontaneous and mysterious about life are a little bit more explained, and a box is put around them. And I think that makes a lot of people feel a lot better, so they can function and go work.
So I was reading the 10 Commandments because they're putting them in schools. And what school? Where are they putting that in schools? Somewhere in the South.
Pull them up. What were you going to say about these 10 Commandments?
I thought they were kind of weird. Some of them.
The obvious ones. There's like 2 or 3 heavy hitters where it's like, hell yeah, definitely shouldn't fucking kill each other. But then they start to get very specific, right?
It's weird because there's different versions of them. Like, who should I look at? Who's 10 Commandments? The language is different.
I have no idea. Catholic?
Okay, well, you shall have no other gods before me. So, money.
Yeah, don't get obsessed with money or sex or drugs.
You shall not make for yourself a carved image.
Yeah, I mean...
Another way of saying it is, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
What about 3D printing? What?
Here's the one. Here, I'll just do the one that they're going to put in schools because it's colorful.
Okay.
You shall not make for yourself any image in the form, an image in the form of anything. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything.
I'm stumped.
I think it means like...
clunky ass set of words.
Here, I'll just say, what does the second commandment mean?
Oh my God.
The second commandment calls us to the virtue of reverence for God, which trains us to know and to preserve the difference between the creator and the creature.
Okay.
It's like the true worship, but the way you truly worship God.
Okay. All right.
You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. So no holy shit, God, fuck, damn it.
You just did it. Holy shit, God, fuck, damn it.
Look.
Yeah, don't use the Lord's name in vain.
I'm already...
Okay, what else we got?
Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy.
Mm.
Which day is Sabbath day?
Sunday. And I think that just means don't talk or eat.
Mm. I've been wanting to do that for a long time.
How else would you keep something holy?
Yeah, not spewing. 5, honor your father and your mother.
Yeah, we're very good at that.
That's where things get corrupted, because you got a bad daddy, and then all of a sudden you're in trouble.
You will, but I think they're talking about the higher father.
Oh, okay. You shall not murder. Okay, I think we could live by that one.
Yeah.
But it's weird to put it in schools and not, like, we're putting this in schools, but we're not adopting it as a foreign policy.
It's like that's on the wall of a school, and then they're teaching you about the current conflict that we're fucking perpetuating.
Well, they're definitely not teaching us about anything like that. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house.
Oh.
You like that one?
Is the wife in the house?
The wife is in the house.
Oh, okay. Because I think it just used to be you can't cover your neighbor's wife, but
they probably don't want to put that in the school. It's weird for schools. It's also like, don't teach kids about gender or sexuality, but let's tell them what adultery is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, when your mom hooks up with his dad.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway.
That's it.
That's it. Those are the 10 commandments.
Maybe they don't want to say do not covet your neighbor's wife, because like then it's like, oh, are wives allowed to then covet their neighbor's husbands? Like, you know what I mean? I think when you just say the house,
more universal.
It's just like whatever's in there, it's none of your business.
None of your business.
What goes on in there, what's in there, who's in there is none of your business. Don't think about it. Don't covet it. Forget about it.
You shall not covet your neighbor's goods. That's another way of putting it. That's how the Catholics put it.
It's hard. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. You know, a lot of these are obvious. It's like it's easy not to murder.
Oh, well, see, and here, this is, number 2 is you shall not take the name of the Lord in vain.
Yeah.
Number 2 is I am the Lord your God. You shall not have strange gods before me. Remember to keep Lord's day holy. Great. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not kill. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. Oh, here, number 9. They changed the 10 commandments. These are the Catholic 10 commandments. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. And then it's you shall not covet your neighbor's goods.
I like saying that there shouldn't be any strange gods before me.
Yeah.
That's great. Strange gods. That's great. That's really that's funny terminology. Strange gods. We're on the strange gods rainbow.
Oh yeah.
We're on the strange gods rainbow spectrum of life.
Yeah. I think lots of gods. It's all about the different.
But one above all other.
Yeah, that's the one you couldn't even put form to.
Yeah, exactly.
The formless God.
Yeah. That shall not be named. That cannot be named. Mm-hmm. So I get that, but I definitely not to step on the all-powerful one, but I do love those strange gods that come down. You know, I feel like all of our, the saints of the Church of Chill are strange gods.
Oh yeah.
Jerry Garcia, George Harrison, Rocky Erickson, They take strange form.
Marijuana,
Man.
cannabis.
Yeah. Sometimes I put it above all other, but I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah, well, I think that's saying don't put any god above the harmony of all gods. So whether it's kind of like I don't think it's an antidote for addiction, but it kind of deals with addiction.
It does. Because sometimes it's just so easy. It's so easy to make like sex your god.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, for me, that's easy. It makes life a little easier. It just gives me like a point of fixation, and it tunes out a lot of what I think is other like noise.
Yeah.
But if I'm going too headstrong into that addiction, that noise I'm tuning out is actually kind of like the beauty and subtlety and nuance of life
Mm-hmm.
that's just getting drowned out by sex addiction. So.
Yeah, you had to have a coming to Jesus moment when someone's like, have you ever thought that you might have a sex addiction? And you're like, we had to talk about that one for a while.
Yeah.
I think we're still processing it.
Yeah.
I don't think you do. But maybe you have tendencies.
Yeah. I don't know.
We don't have to talk about it.
I think I would know if I was a sex addict. I think being that it's like I don't really know makes me think that, well, maybe I am and I just have discipline.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really...
It's one of those amorphous ones because sex is like food. It's like we all eat. So saying you have a food addiction versus sex addiction, it's like the lines are blurry and it's complicated.
Yeah. I mean, is there a way to have a music addiction?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like...
I used to think you have a music addiction because you used to leave the house and we used to live 1 block away from a grocery store. And you would walk out with headphones on and music, and I was like, oh, he's scared of silence. I had this like kind of feeling.
I don't even remember going to the store with headphones on.
Well,
I think when you live in New York City, putting headphones in is like a natural protection mechanism sometimes. I mean, I refuse to run or exercise with music or headphones. And I meditate. So I think I can handle silence.
No, this was like 10 years ago.
Oh, I've calmed the fuck down since then.
No, you have calmed the fuck down since then.
I mean, I grew up with TVs blaring out of every room, a TV in my room that pretty much never went off. You know, I would fall asleep to it. I'd put it on a sleep timer, which I was the only one in the house that even did that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, oh, I'm drifting off, put it on 15 minutes. But I'd fall asleep to SportsCenter or whatever every day, my whole life. And, yeah, I kind of haven't done that since I've been with you. So I think there was like a destimulation of my life from a lot of angles that happened when I met you, because you were a lot more disciplined about certain things.
Well, it just wasn't part of my repertoire.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I remember when we first met, you were like, I'm a TV addict. I can't really, it's a slippery slope for me. I don't even like having one in my apartment or whatever. And I was like, TV addict? What's that? You could be addicted to that? And I'm like, I'm such an addict that I can't imagine.
You're just in the water. You're
yes,
like, water?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? What? Okay. So, yeah. You've shown me the ways.
Yeah, I get sucked in. You know, I'm very adaptable to whatever the narrative is, and I'm like, okay, new narrative. We're watching this show. Okay, that's the new god.
Yeah, it's a strange god.
It's a strange god. Yeah.
Yeah, just like this fucking monolith of flickering light that's trying to sell you things, and it'll tell you little fancy stories in between trying to sell you things, and we become addicted to that.
And it also makes you feel like you missed out, whether it's through cliffhangers or breaking news But I need to know what's happening with the weather.
Yeah.
That was my addiction.
Watching the Weather Channel.
Well, yeah, my parents banned me from television. I was still allowed to watch the Weather Channel, so I watched it really intently.
Really? You probably made perverted little stories about all those people.
No,
I don't know what you were doing on the Weather Channel that kept you coming back.
Something's happening. It's like being in a casino. You're just like watching things happen.
Yeah.
You're just watching flickering lights change.
Yeah. It's so funny. Because something is always happening weather-wise somewhere. So they just have a channel just being like, hey, oh my God, you see what's happening in Chicago? It has nothing to do with you or your life. It's crazy. It figures you would get addicted to the Weather Channel. That's some retro 90s lo-fi study beats type of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Pokemon.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. How you doing?
Great.
Do you want to encourage people? To join us for more?
Yes. We are going to move it over to the Patreon. And if you'd like to join us for more, that's where we'll be. Patreon.com/churchofchill. Sean's been doing some really great mixes lately. I know there's a lot more exciting, creative ones to come. And, yeah. And everyone who's already on the Patreon, thank you so much. We love you guys. And obviously, if you're not on the Patreon, we love you too. So we love you all.
We do. We just don't know you. Just join the Patreon. Let's get it going.
Yep.
And you should listen when Cass tells you, join the Patreon. You should listen. Well, I'm the one that usually says it, and it's just
well,
like...
you man the Patreon. I don't really man the Patreon.
But it's easy to write me off. I'm like, yo, go over there. I swear I did a cool thing. But if Cass is saying go over there, you know it's legit.
It's super legit.
It's legit. Cool. So we'll be over for part 2 of this on patreon.com/churchofchill. Thanks, y'all. Peace, love, and magic.